What's going on, friends? Fall is just around the corner, and you probably haven't even started thinking about what you want to do or what maybe you need to do or to your Harley-Davidson this coming off season during the winter time. But right now is a great time to start getting a plan together and start figuring out exactly what you want to do to your motorcycle when there's snow on the ground and you can't ride it. Now, don't get me wrong, drinking beer and staring at it's all good, all well and good, but it's better to probably be doing a little something to it while you can, so you're not sacrificing your riding season. Now, I think what a lot of people forget is that you don't have to have a really hopped up hot rod motor to get in there and still do a few things to your engine while being on a budget, because I know budgets are tight these days. Now, you damn sure don't have to have a full-on hot rod motor to get a little garage project going, to get a little extra bump in the horsepower and torque department on your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. There's a couple of things you can do, and if you do them wisely, you're going to get a very noticeable bump in torque and horsepower, and definitely something that you're going to really appreciate come this riding season, especially if you're riding two up or you're carrying a bunch of luggage and going on a long trip. But the absolute most important thing is to stay on budget and still get it done right. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, the most important thing about staying on budget when it comes to doing these upgrades on your Harley-Davidson is sitting down and figuring out exactly what you want and already having a plan in place before you order parts. If you do that, that damn sure reduces the likelihood of you having a, oh crap, I need this, or oh crap, I need that, and then things just start snowballing from there. Now, what you might really be surprised about is honestly how inexpensive it can be to do a mild big bore kit or a mild cam upgrade in your Harley-Davidson, all if you're willing to do it yourself. So you need to be comfortable with the service manual, buying or borrowing the tools, and actually getting in there and doing it yourself. Now, if you're doing things yourself, just keep in mind that you're only paying for the parts and materials. You're not paying that labor charge. Now, I do have to mention though that the older the engines are, the less expensive it's going to be, and typically it's probably going to be a little bit easier to work on. So the Evolution engine is going to be your cheapest route. Now, your twin cams are going to be arguably more expensive than the Milwaukee 8 because you have two cams, but just depends on what manufacturer and cam that you choose. But as the bikes get newer, that's when things tend to get a little more expensive just for the cost of the parts alone. Now, still on any Harley-Davidson engine, the biggest bang for your buck is going to be a mild bolt-in cam. That is going to be the most noticeable increase in horsepower and torque per dollar, and it just happens to also be the less expensive option out of the two. Now, if you can put both of them together, that's even better. Now, if you already have an exhaust system and an air cleaner that you're happy with, doing a cam swap is the next logical choice. And yes, cam swaps can be done without putting an aftermarket cam plate or oil pump. You can reuse the stock cam plate and the stock oil pump. The only thing that I would recommend is definitely inspect the lifters, make sure they're still in good condition, and also, I really hate to negotiate on this because they're just that inexpensive. Go ahead and put a new set of cam bearings in there. So yes, you can reuse your stock cam plate oil pump with a cam swap, and just throw in a set of cam bearings for good measure and make sure the lifters are in good shape. You do those things, you're probably going to be all right. Now, as always, I do recommend going with the new cam plate, new lifters, and definitely the cam bearings, but we're trying to do this on a budget, so yes, it can be done. If you're willing to go with adjustable push rods, that will also decrease your install time and also lower your costs as well, so you're not having to pull the top end down. Now, if you already have a flash tuner and you buy a camshaft and get it installed, you're looking at relatively around $500 or less, especially if you have a flash tuner that you are able to flash to match with the cam. For example, the Fuel Pack, they have a library full of cams. If you were to choose one of those cams, install it yourself, you could already get a good base map. Now, the next option is maybe a little more tricky. That is kind of dependent on that maybe the manufacturer of the camshaft actually has a map that they could send you, and you could actually put that on your Power Vision and flash it to the bike. That's not always the case, so definitely be aware of that. Now, I know cam tunes are not the absolute pinnacle of perfection in tuning, but if you've got a cam tune that is basically dynoed on another bike and developed on another motorcycle that is for the cam that you are using in your bike with your basic exhaust system, whether it's 2-into-2 or 2-into-1, you flash it on there, run it through the auto-tune procedure. It's going to get you very, very close and still keep you on budget without having to make a trip to the dyno tuner. You can always do that down the road for a little extra power and a little more fine tuning if you choose to do so. Now for carbureted bikes, it's even simpler. Pretty much every cam manufacturer out there is going to come with a starting point, and it may even be perfect for you for your jet settings, your carburetor settings, and your timing settings. You do that to the bike, that gives you a great place to start, and you can start kind of fine-tuning it by ear from there and using the butt dyno to get it dialed in just perfect the way you like it. But all in all, for you doing the labor and the cost of materials, and then theoretically if you already have the tuner or the jet kit, you have everything you need, you can actually get a cam swap done for about $500 or less. That's some pretty cheap improvements on your motorcycle, especially considering what you're gaining out of it. Now, if you have some miles on your motorcycle, it's a little down on compression, it's just feeling a little tired, I definitely wouldn't recommend going and stuffing a brand new camshaft in it. That's not going to solve anything but exacerbate the problem that you're already having. Now, in that case, you can start looking into a little top end refresh. And if you're going to do a little top end refresh on your motorcycle, why not look at going up a few cubic inches with it? Say if you got an Evolution engine, you go to an 83 or an 85. You got a Twin Cam 88, go to a 95. 103, go to a 107, maybe the 110. Or 96, just go up to the 103. And you can still do this with your stock compression, get a little extra bump, and if you've already got a high performance camshaft installed in there from a previous build, last time you got in there, you're already in great shape. It'll take perfect advantage of all of that. Now these kits with a little extra bore on the Evolution engine, we're looking at about $800 to $1,000 on the low end. Then you get into the Twin Cam and the Milwaukee 8, you're looking at about $1,000 to $1,500, maybe a little more, depending on the brand and the year of the motorcycle and the cubic inch that you're looking to go to. Now your basic top-end rebuild kits, these are nothing more than the larger bore cylinders with the matching pistons and the rings, and usually a top-end gasket set. Quick and easy to put on. Hell, it probably, honestly, if you've been into a motor before, it's going to take you longer to tear the motorcycle down to where you don't dent up your tank and tear everything else up getting those off. But highly recommend it. I'm not really a fan of going back with the stock displacement. If you got an opportunity to go a little bigger and you're not getting too crazy, you're going to get a little extra bump in torque and horsepower out of it. Now, if your bike's got some miles on it and you're doing a top end on it, and we're talking bare minimum budget here, you sometimes can get away with reusing your cam and lifters. I would thoroughly inspect them. I'm not really crazy about that idea, but I've seen guys do it and I've seen it work, and on the other side of the coin, I've seen guys do it and end up having to go back in and do it all over again. So use your best judgment on there. Now, once again with big bore kits, I would highly recommend if you're installing them to contact the manufacturer and see if they've got a base map for you, or at least something that they could give you to get a start to go in with your tuner and make the added fuel and timing adjustments that you're going to need. And the exact same thing goes for the carbureted bikes as well. They'll usually have a baseline for the jetting and the timing just to get you started. Now, it's things like that right there is where Screaming Eagle comes in, and they made the kits fully put together, and they even had the tuners with the preloaded maps and everything, that if you chose to do it yourself, you don't have to do all this footwork hunting down different settings and maps and all these other things you need. They put it all right there in one package, but that's the story for a whole other video. And not to mention, Screaming Eagle's not exactly budget friendly, but maybe on the budget friendly side, having to do a little footwork, that's kind of the extra cost, but it's just not out of pocket. But guys, let me know down in the comments, how do you feel about doing a very basic bare minimum build on your engine? Are you comfortable with it? Are you comfortable doing that yourself, doing some footwork, getting a baseline map, doing some tuning all on your own in your garage? Or would you feel more comfortable just buying a kit that kind of comes with everything you need? Or would you prefer to send it out to a shop and a dyno tuner? But anyhow, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But till next week, guys, you stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars. I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.